If I could sit down with my 22-year-old self for just 10 minutes, I would not talk about getting rich fast. I would not talk about fancy investment strategies. And I definitely would not talk about trying to look successful. I would talk about the small money decisions that quietly shape your entire life. Because at 22, you think money is mostly about income. But later, you realize money is really about habits, timing, and emotional control. And the truth is, a few lessons learned early can save you years of stress. So in this video, I'm sharing what I genuinely wish I knew about money at 22. The lessons that would have helped me build wealth faster, avoid expensive mistakes, and feel way more in control. If you're in your early 20s, or even if you're past that and trying to reset, this video is for you. Because nobody really teaches you how money works in real life. They teach you how to pass exams, they teach you how to get a job, but they rarely teach you how to manage a paycheck, avoid lifestyle traps, and build wealth without burning yourself out. So let's make this simple. Here are the money lessons I wish I knew at 22. Number 1. Your first big financial advantage is not income, it's time. At 22, it feels like you have forever. You think, I'll start saving later. I'll invest when I earn more. I'll get serious once life settles down. But that is exactly how people lose years, because money loves time more than it loves intensity. You do not need to invest huge amounts in the beginning. You need to start. Even a small amount invested consistently can matter more than waiting for the perfect time. At 22, your biggest asset is not your salary. It is the number of years your money has to grow. And once I understood that, I stopped asking, how much can I invest? And started asking, how fast can I build the habit? Number 2. Looking rich and being rich are completely different. At 22, it's so easy to confuse spending with progress. A nicer car feels like success. A more expensive apartment feels like success. Designer items, constant takeout, expensive nights out, it all feels like proof that you're doing well. But a lot of people who look rich are just highly committed to monthly payments. Real wealth is usually much quieter. It looks like automatic savings. It looks like keeping your fixed expenses low. It looks like not needing to impress people who are not paying your bills. One of the biggest mindset shifts I wish I had earlier was this. The goal is not to look expensive. The goal is to become financially free. And those two paths often move in opposite directions. Number 3. Your lifestyle can trap your income. This is one of the sneakiest money problems in your 20s. Every time you earn a little more, your lifestyle tries to grow with it. You upgrade your phone. You upgrade your clothes. You upgrade your subscriptions. You upgrade your daily habits. And suddenly, a higher income doesn't make you feel wealthier. It just makes your life more expensive. That's why some people earn more every year and still feel broke. I wish I knew earlier that income matters, but the gap between what you earn and what you keep matters even more. If your spending rises every time your paycheck rises, you never create financial margin. And financial margin is what gives you options. Options to leave a bad job, options to move, options to rest, options to invest, options to breathe. Number 4. A budget is not punishment, it's self-respect. At 22, budgeting can feel restrictive. It sounds boring, it sounds controlling, it sounds like something you do only when things are going badly. But a good budget is not there to make your life smaller, it's there to make your money intentional. A budget simply tells your money where to go before life spends it for you. Because if you don't decide in advance, your money will disappear into random convenience. And the scary part is, most financial damage doesn't come from one huge mistake. It comes from hundreds of small, unplanned ones. Coffee here, delivery there, subscription you forgot about, impulse purchase because you had a stressful day. A budget helps you spend without guilt because you already gave your money a job. That's not restriction, that's control. Number 5.
Debt is more dangerous when it feels normal. At 22, debt can feel harmless. Everyone has it. Everyone uses credit. Everyone says they'll figure it out later. But normal doesn't mean safe. The problem with debt is not just the balance, it's the way it steals your future income. It takes money from the version of you that's trying to get ahead later. And the worst kind of debt is the kind you use to fund a lifestyle you barely even remember. I wish I understood earlier that debt reduces flexibility. It makes every future decision harder. So if I could go back, I would focus less on what I qualify for and more on what I can actually afford without stress. Because being approved for something doesn't mean it's good for you. Number 6. Emergency funds are boring and life-changing. At 22, an emergency fund sounds unexciting. It's not flashy, it's not impressive, it doesn't feel like a wealth move. But having cash set aside changes how you experience life. It turns panic into inconvenience. Your car breaks down, you handle it. Your hours get cut, you breathe. A surprise bill shows up, you don't need to destroy next month just to survive this week. I used to think financial progress was only about growing money, but a huge part of financial progress is actually about becoming harder to destabilize. And an emergency fund does exactly that. It buys you calm, and calm is powerful. Number 7. Investing is simpler than most people make it sound. At 22, investing can feel intimidating because the internet makes everything sound complicated. There's always a new strategy, a new prediction, a new stock everyone is suddenly obsessed with. And when you're new, it's easy to think wealth comes from finding the smartest move. But most of the time, wealth comes from doing the boring basics for a long time. Consistent investing, low fees, long time horizon, patience. I wish I knew earlier that investing is less about being exciting and more about being repeatable. You don't need to be the smartest person in the market. You need to be the person who keeps going. Because a simple plan followed for years will usually beat a complicated plan you abandon in 3 months. Number 8. Your financial habits matter more than your financial mood. This one took me too long to learn. At 22, you often manage money based on how you feel. If you feel motivated, you save. If you feel discouraged, you spend. If you feel stressed, you avoid checking your account. If you feel optimistic, you promise yourself you'll do better next month. But money gets easier when it stops depending on your mood. Automate your savings, automate your investing, automate your bill payments. Reduce the number of financial decisions that rely on daily willpower. Because discipline is great, but systems are better. The less your progress depends on motivation, the more likely it is to actually happen. Number 9. Who you compare yourself to can ruin your finances. At 22, comparison is expensive. You see people traveling, upgrading, buying things, going out constantly, and it feels like you're behind. But social comparison is one of the fastest ways to make bad money decisions, because you stop spending for your life and start spending for your image. What I wish I knew is that personal finance becomes much easier when it actually becomes personal, not performative, not competitive, not designed to impress strangers online. Just aligned. Aligned with your values, aligned with your goals, aligned with the kind of future you're trying to build. Once you stop trying to match other people's timelines, your money decisions get a lot clearer. Number 10. The goal of money is not just more money, it's a better life. This might be the biggest one. At 22, I thought money was mainly about survival and status. Pay the bills, get more, look like you're progressing. But over time, I realized money is really a tool for peace, a tool for flexibility, a tool for choice. Money should help you create a life with less fear and more freedom. Freedom to say no, freedom to take opportunities, freedom to rest without falling apart, freedom to build slowly instead of constantly reacting. That's what I wish I knew at 22. Not that money solves everything, but that managing it well solves a lot of unnecessary pain. So if you're 22 or 25 or even 32 and feeling behind, here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to fix everything this month. You don't need to become perfect overnight. And you don't need to earn an amazing income to start building a strong financial life. You just need a few better habits, a little more awareness, and enough patience to let the small, smart decisions compound. Because the people who win with money aren't always the loudest. They're usually the most consistent. If this video helped you, subscribe to Ken Talks Money for simple money lessons that actually make real life easier. And if you want, comment below, what money lesson do you wish you learned earlier?